Hello, everyone, and welcome back to You Know Who. I'm your host, the Reviewer. And it's time for another Christmas. With me, as always, is my cameraman, Jamie. Merry Christmas, Jamie. You're nuts. Christmas was weeks ago. And that's part of the fun of being a time traveler, Jamie. Whenever you feel like having a holiday, you can just jump ahead and have it. Well, then, can we stop on Earth to pick up some fresh mistletoe? I want to throw another Christmas party. Well, I've been meaning to talk to you about our last Christmas party, Jamie. The Ventrex ambassador was most put out by your inappropriate kissing of it. Well, I did take a wee bit of advantage, but did you see her? She's a fine figure of a woman. Jamie, the Ventrex ambassador is male. Oh, God. Well, to be fair, he's several sexes at the same time. Oh, God. All of them male. Oh, God. Oh, grow up, Jamie. Anyway, with another Christmas comes another Doctor Who holiday special. This is the return of Dr. Mysterio. A young boy wakes up to find the doctor swinging in front of his room. He's Grant, and he has to check if it's okay to help the doctor. His mom says it's okay. He's supposed to expect an old man today. It's Christmas. Later, the doctor checks out some of Grant's comic books. Hey, he's realized that Clark Kent and Superman are the same person. Those comic books look most familiar, but I need help identifying them. Let's bring up an old friend on the Sardis communicator. Oh, hi, Reviewer. Geek, we're trying to identify the comic book that shows up in Grant's room in the Dr. Mysterio Christmas special episode.
Well, I'm not entirely sure, but I recognize John Byrne's art, so it's probably an Action Comics that he wrote and drew in the 80s. Or even his Man of Steel miniseries that reimagined Superman for the modern age. At least until the DCNU's disastrous...
Yes, thank you, Geek. Good talking to you.
Well, do you want me to stick around? I could be the first online critic to ever do a crossover review with himself.
Sure, I don't know what you mean. Good day. What an insufferable bore. Grant has a cold, so the doctor gives him a glass of water and a glowing crystal before introducing himself as the doctor. Grant thinks if this were a comic, he'd be Dr. Mysterio. I'll just give you a moment to get those pro wrestling jokes out of your system. The doctor's built a device to stabilize a problem in time. They'll just need the crystal he handed Grant to power it up. It's a sort of solar-powered computer that will intuitively do whatever its owner needs. Oh, wait, that wasn't medicine? He told Grant he's a doctor. He handed him a glass of water and a pill. He starts levitating, and when he panics, takes off into the night sky with the doctor holding on. In modern day, Grant wakes up to a baby's cries. He's on the phone to a Mrs. Lombard and assures her that baby Jennifer is fine. In the past, the doctor yells out that the gemstone is granting his deepest wish. Grant has superpowers. At a scientific research company called Harmony Schaw, Mr. Brock is wrapping up a press conference. Miss Fletcher, a reporter, can't seem to find any information on their financial backers, while Nardole, Professor Song's old assistant, is also there, unsuccessfully trying to find the little boy's room. Dr. Sim, one of the researchers, and Brock agree to meet at midnight as Miss Fletcher is seen talking to a cleaning woman. Afterwards, we see that Sim is leaking blue stuff. That night, trailed by Miss Fletcher, now masquerading as a cleaning woman, Brock and Sim head to a sealed room full of brains and jars, donated by Harmony Shaw's benefactors for a top-secret project. In fact, the brains have been increasing in number even though there have been no more deliveries. Miss Fletcher turns and sees that the doctor is there eating sushi. He gets a little peckish during investigations. One of the brains spontaneously generates eyes. Brains with eyes? Oh, my giddy aunt. Jamie! This can only mean one thing. We're being invaded by Dimension X! Yes, we're going to need the help of the
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, made famous in the underground comic created by Eastman and Laird. Of course, Krang was based off the comic book aliens in that series known as the Ultrams.
They... Go away! Oh, crumbs. That man is desperate for attention. The brain has the same eyes as Dr. Sim, except the real Dr. Sim is in that jar there. He seals Brock in with several masked surgeons who will exchange his brain for one of the Shoal. The Doctor and Lucy head to the TARDIS, and he explains Harmony Shoal is set up in capital cities across the globe. No, Nardole is there, and he points out that New York City is not a capital city. Sim arrives. He'll kill them and pass it off as self-defense, so the doctor and company turn. Can't be self-defense if they're shot in the back. But then they hear knocking. The ghost. The living legend is real. A superhero protecting the streets of New York. He destroys the glass, which is impressive since it was built to withstand a force equal to 4 nuclear bombs. Sim's bullets bounce off the ghost and he quickly subdues him, introducing himself as a fan of Miss Fletcher's column. He and the doctor seem to know each other before he picks her up to fly her home. In the past, the doctor has Grant promised to never use his powers in a public way for as long as he has them. The ghost drops Lucy off, but has to hurry away when the baby monitor he's carrying goes off. He returns home and rushes to the crib. However, Jennifer isn't there. The doctor's got her, and he scolds Grant for leaving a baby alone. Grant is Jennifer's nanny. He can use super speed to get back to her whenever she needs him. They're interrupted by the baby's mother, Mrs. Lombard, a.k.a. Lucy Fletcher. She's surprised to see the doctor in her apartment and wants to talk to him after she puts her baby to sleep. Lombard is Lucy's married name, and now the doctor understands. He visited Grant once in high school to see how he's dealing with his powers. He's avoiding eye contact since puberty has granted him X-ray vision. A girl named Lucy walks by and says hi to Grant. Something tells the doctor that Grant really likes her.
Just get it over with, Jamie.
It wouldn't be the last time Lucy got a rise out of Grant. Grant and Lucy met years later, but she fell in love with Grant's best friend. They got married, had Jennifer, but then he ran out on them. Grant became the baby's nanny, all the while Lucy remaining oblivious to his feelings for her. A number of emergency vehicles drive by and Grant flies off to help. The doctor is then interviewed by Lucy. She introduces him to a squeeze toy, Mr. Huffle. He can feel pain. She'll ask him a question, but if he lies, she'll squeeze Mr. Huffle. She quickly figures out he's not with Scotland Yard. The brains are aliens attempting a colonization of Earth. She also realizes that he knows who the ghost really is, even as the superhero is appearing on TV. She also feels like the doctor may have lost someone recently, someone he cared about, but he won't go into details. She wants him to put her into contact with the ghost. When it looks like the doctor will crack, Grant disappears, and the ghost calls Lucy to make a date for an interview. She asks Grant to watch the baby, which is tough since he has a date that night. This startles her, but Grant backs down and agrees to do the babysitting. As the ghost continues to save people, Sim and the newly converted Brock discuss capturing the ghost and just who is the doctor. Except their archival footage turns and says, "Boo! He's actually there." The doctor gives him the usual chance to leave Earth in peace, but Brock unseals his head and pulls a gun.
Oh, wait a minute. They keep ripping their heads open, but all I see is that blue goo. Where are they implanting those brains?
Oh, it would have to be someone that they could control the entire human body from, Jamie. Now, there is a cluster of nerve ganglion in the human body that acts as a sort of secondary brain.
Really? Where?
Well, it's primarily associated with the human digestive system, all the way from the esophagus to the stomach down to the, anus.
You mean...
Yes, I'm afraid so, Jamie. It's quite possible that the Schaw are literally butt heads.
McFly...
He knows they're planning to assimilate the world's leaders, but how to get to those leaders? Anyway, the doctors stop every alien invasion of Earth. He whistles, and the TARDIS materializes around him. Nardole had some trouble getting the TARDIS to this point in time, but promises that he ruled ancient Constantinople fairly. The doctor needs his help investigating the ghost. It's why he reassembled Nardole. Actually, Nardole corrects him, it was because he didn't want to be alone, which the doctor quickly brushes off. Later, Grant is surprised Lucy isn't wearing her red dress for dinner with the ghost, but this is business. He then ducks out and re-arrives as the ghost to see that Lucy is wearing the red dress. At the Tokyo branch of Harmony Shoal, the Dr. and Nardole hack their computers. There's a signal from all Harmony Shoal locations being sent to something in low orbit. As Grant and Lucy have their date, the Dr. and Nardole track the signals to his spaceship. Lucy asks how the ghost balances a double life, superhero, and whatever. He asks how does she balance a career and a child, almost tipping his hand. Well, she's got a nanny, and then begins to feel guilty for being on a date while Grant canceled his to watch her daughter. The Dr. and Nardole head to the bridge of the spaceship. They trip a sensor, and Dr. Sim activates the ship's guards. Lucy admits she's confused by the sudden jealousy over Grant's date. He tries to unmask, but she keeps missing it. Grant is so nice and never lies, which shames him into remasking. It's then the Shoal arrive. They want the ghost as their next host body. The Doctor realizes the spaceship's reactor is soon going to go critical. This ship is a bomb, and he has to seal them inside as the guards arrive. The exploding ship would be enough to destroy an entire city. Wait! Nardole was right. New York isn't a capital city. Sim appears on a screen to remind them Harmony Shoal's building can withstand the spaceship explosion. Destroy New York, and the world leaders will rush to the only building they think is safe, Harmony Shoal. They'll head right to the aliens for protection and get their brains swapped out. They're about to cut the ghost open. If he runs, they'll kill Lucy. He runs. Moments later, Grant bursts onto the roof. Sim lets slip that Harmony Shoal isn't ready to destroy New York, so the Doctor goes mental and activates the ship, sending it crashing down to Earth. The Doctor and Nardole try to escape, but the guards are still there. So the Doctor tries to aim the crashing ship. He broadcasts on a frequency only Grant can hear. He has to catch them. He does. As the Doctor joins them on the rooftop, Lucy lets Grant know that she likes the nanny more than the superhero, and they fly off to dispense of the spaceship. He disarms Brock, who is left to impotently threaten the Doctor while Unit arrives to arrest the aliens and dismantle Harmony Shoal. Except now Sim is missing. His brain, that is, although a Unit guard now bears a similar scar.
Of course! Why would anyone notice that soldier suddenly had a scar across his face and flashing eyes? I'm afraid Unit never did recruit the best or the brightest. It's Sergeant Benton all over again.
Grant's decided to retire. It's fine because the Doctor is back from wherever he was to look after the Earth. But he's still not ready to say where he was or who he was with. Things end. That's sad. What isn't sad is when new things begin. Nardole tells them her name was River Song. And she's dead now, but he's here and he'll look after the silly Doctor. Who was that man? Dr. Mysterio.
Can't wait to see what you got me. Oh, Jamie! What a beautiful yellow knit hat. It reminds me of the kind Nardole wore last year. And thank you for this gift certificate for elocution lessons. Pretty soon I'll be able to blend in with the hoi polloi. And then you'll win that bet with the Colonel. Oh, pardon us, everyone. Time marches on even in a review. Well, it's been a year between Christmas specials. Is this episode as good as The Husbands of River Song, or is it the proverbial coal in our stocking? Let's take a closer look at the return of Dr. Mysterio.
I suppose the biggest issue I had was the blending of the two genres. This adventure is trying to be both a superhero story and a typical Doctor Who invasion story, but never quite blends them together. Maybe if the Shoal had been inadvertently responsible for Grant's powers, it would have felt more like one big story. As it is, it felt like the superhero tale was dropped on top of the invasion angle, and like oil and vinegar, the two never truly mix. The hero shows up and saves the girl. He then has nothing to do with the aliens until they try and take him hostage, and then the Doctor drops a ship on him. He could have single-handedly taken apart the Shoal with a concentrated effort. Instead, yes, he saves a few people from accidents and apparently stalks the woman he lives with. The invasion story itself is much better. I'm not sure why they brought back the split-headed aliens, now known as the Shoal, from The Husbands of River Song. I mean, it is a good special effect, and maybe Moffat wanted to explore them more, or maybe it was just a cost-cutting measure to use a creature effect that they previously developed, rather than come up with a whole new alien for this story. Regardless, I agree with the Doctor. The Shoal had a damn good plan. One that uses massive destruction and death to manipulate humanity rather than control them. I guess the Shoal are big Alan Moore fans. Plus, I liked how they sowed the seeds for the final confrontation, setting up the information about New York's office not being a capital city and the glass being able to withstand a catastrophe. They really sowed the hints about how the invasion angle was going to play out throughout the story. The love story part of it was nice in that Lucy finally understands that Grant is the real catch, not the fleshy dude in the rubber suit. But again, Grant comes off a bit stalkerish. Raising the baby his best friend abandoned so he could be close to the girl he's loved for 24 years without telling her. I felt like the only thing missing was a scene where Grant sneaks into Lucy's bedroom to smell her hair while she's sleeping. What about the actors themselves? Well, Peter Capaldi turns in a perfect performance as the Doctor, alternating his normal sense of humor and anger at the aliens with a simmering sadness over River's departure. It never gets too morose, but we can tell something's bothering him. The returning Nardole, played by Matt Lucas, has a challenging role as Jiminy Cricket to the Doctor. They seem to have been together for a while at this point, as he can see through the Doctor's bluster and is, not counting River or Romana, perhaps the first companion to actually be able to fly the TARDIS on his own. But who is he? And will he be around for all of next season or quickly hand things off to the new companion, Bill? Still, he brings some nice comedic moments of his own to the story, but he does seem to disappear for long stretches with no real explanation. something that says to me Matt Lucas wasn't available for all of filming. The Schaw, portrayed primarily by Alexander Jovanovic and Ada Tomiwa Edon, are an okay villain alien race, although they do seem to get by on just that one effect, which isn't as impressive having seen it last year as it would have been new. Dr. Sims has some impressive gravitas as the villain and nicely plays off Capaldi. Edon never really makes me feel as though he's two different people, which I think was essential to the role. As for the Ghost and Lucy, well, Lucy, played by Charity Wakefield, did a really good job, and bravo for completely hiding your British accent, Charity. I like how she uses a squeak toy to break the Doctor's story, and that bit of self-revelation at the end about her feelings for Grant. Her performance comes off as genuine, and that's a good thing. The far inferior performance, and you can blame some of that on the writing, is Grant by Justin Chatwin. It kind of feels like he's trying to affect a bad announcer's voice when he's doing both the Ghost and Justin. And he's known Lucy for 20 plus years, but he still calls her by her last name? Huh. I guess he's trying to be professional. That said, there's a way to carry yourself when you're a superhero that I feel like Justin doesn't pull off. He seems to be letting the costume do all the heavy lifting. I guess I'm saying I just didn't buy him as a superhero, or even as a male nanny. There was no charisma there or investment in the role like I felt from Charity's performance. But then the Ghost was such a bland and uninteresting character, it'd be hard to blame the actor for not caring.
Overall, this was a fun episode, but it was hardly the second coming of Doctor Who. We have a good supporting cast, mostly, but the sci-fi story and the superhero story never quite gel. In fact, the superhero story just feels tacked on. I give Doctor Who the return of Dr. Mysterio 2 TARDISes out of 5. But at least we have a whole new season of Doctor Who to look forward to this year. I am looking forward to seeing the surgeon and his friends back for another year on the telly. Jamie, when will you learn that this show is more than just silly accents for cheap laughs?
Aye, but...
No, Jamie, I am the man who will maintain the dignity of this program. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm your host, The Reviewer, and I'll see you next time here on You Know Who! Jamie!